Welcome everybody, this is 11.3, factoring trinomials when a equals 1. So we're going to continue on with the x method, right? Using the x method or diamond method, some people might call it, right? So these work for when a equals 1, so this method that we're going to use when a equals 1, so these form x squared minus 6x plus 5, remember? So we identify what the a is, right? So these numbers, so your a, your coefficients 1, and you got -6 and +5, right? So that's how you get your a, b, c. And then use your x, and then a times c goes on the top. So this one is 1 times 5, right? That's our a times c. A times c. And that'll give us 5. And our b always goes on the bottom, right? So this one's -6. That's how we got -6 on the bottom here. And then you ask yourself, what are factors of 5 that are going to add to -6, right? So factors of 5 to add to -6, we found out there's going to be -1 and -5, right? Because -1 times -5 is +5. -1 plus -5 is -6. So that's how we got those numbers. And these are our factors, right? So that's completed our x method. So we're going to use that and just write it in our solution. So that is our factors, right there, x minus 1, x minus 5. So once you find the x method values, right, -1, -5, we just put it into our factored form, and that's our answer right there. So if we can do the x method, we can do our factors. Okay, and you all can check your answer by multiplying, right, distributed property, show your work. And they're always going to add to -6 and then multiply it to 5, right, in the middle and at the end. So that's how we got those two numbers. Okay, another example is x squared minus 81. For this one, right, we have an a, that's 1. We don't have an x, so we don't have a b, so that's why it's 0, right, because there's just like a 0x in there. So 0x, so that's how we got 0. And then -81 is our c, right? So no x value is 0 for b. A times c, right? Your 1 times -81 will give you -81. Your b is 0. Factors of -81 that add to 0 are going to be 9 and -1 right here. These are our factors. 9 and -9, right? Because 9 times -9 is -81. That gives us the top number. 9 plus -9 is 0, right? That gives us the bottom number. And that's how we know that one works. And that's just our answers right there. So +9, -9 are two factors. So we just write that x plus 9, x minus 9. And that's it. That's our factored form. Okay, we always check ourselves. You can multiply. The middle terms are going to add to 0 because there's no x in the middle, and they're going to multiply to -81 here. Okay, so we're going to go all the way just like that. Let's practice some. All right, so first one. So x squared minus 6x plus 5. So we're going to identify what the a is. All right, so our coefficient. So 1, -6, +5. All right, so we got 1, -6, +5. So those are our letters, our A, B, and C. And on the top of the x, we got A times C. So it's going to be 1 times 5. All right, so this number is going to be 5. Our B number goes on the bottom, right, our B, right, because this is A times C. Our B goes on the bottom, that's given -6. Right, so that's -6 there. So we're going to find what are factors of 5 that add to -6. Right, so factors of 5 add to -6. So we figure out our factors, right? So we can have factors of 5. 1 times 5. That doesn't add to -6. That adds to +6. Could we just flip our signs, right? Yeah, so -1 times -5 does equal positive 5, right? That gives us this number. And then negative 1 plus negative 5 equals negative 6. So that gives us our bottom number. So those are our two factors right there, negative 1 and negative 5. Okay, so we're going to take that and we're going to put it as our factors. All right, so we have our two factors here, x, x, and all we do is just write our numbers in there. So if there's negative 1, put in negative 1. And then negative 5, put in negative 5. And that's it. All right, so it doesn't matter what order it is. You could have these flipped, like negative 5 could be in the front, negative 1 could be at the end. Doesn't matter. But they're always going to work. And you can see the shortcut here. If you multiply, negative 1 times negative 5, positive 5. Negative 1 plus negative 5, negative 6. Right? Those add together. Okay, and we're going to check our answers by multiplying. So let's use the X box to show our work. Let's use it so we can see how this works, right? So we have x minus 1, x minus 5 as our factors. We're going to multiply x times x, x squared. Negative 1 times x, negative 1x. X times negative 5 is negative 5x. And then negative 1 times negative 5, positive 5. And our middle terms always combine, right? See those? So we just have x squared minus 6x and then positive 5. And that's our solution. So we are correct. So our factors are x minus 1 and x minus 5. Okay, so these are our factors. Right there. So we have two factors. Two factors. Okay, so let's do number 2. Similar, right? X squared minus 8x minus 9. So we know already it's going to be two factors, because these all give two factors. So we can just write out our parentheses right here. So we have our parentheses. We know it's going to be x, okay, because we start with an x squared, the basic x squared, so x, like that. Because our a is equal to 1, we can do that. And they will identify our letters, right? 1, negative 8, negative 9, right? So 1, negative 8, negative 9. Our a times c goes on the top of our x. So we have 1 times negative 9. So negative 9 goes on the top of our x. Our bottom letter is just b, so that's negative 8. And we're going to find factors of negative 9 that add to negative 8. So we just, what are the factors of negative 9? 1 and negative 9. Does that add to negative 8? Yeah, that works right there. Straight up. So that's our numbers. So 1 and negative 9, right? Because this multiplies to negative 9, gives us this number, and then they add to negative 8, gives us that number. Okay, so those are our numbers, 1 and negative 9, and then we're just going to put it in our parentheses right there. So we just put positive 1, positive 1, and negative 9, and that's our solution. X plus 1, parentheses, x minus 9. And then we check ourselves. Let's do the box method again. Right, so x positive 1, x negative 9, and multiplied, right, x times x, x squared, x times negative 9, negative 9x. 1 times x, 1x, 1 times negative 9, negative 9. Our middle terms always combine. That'll give us negative 8x. Right, so x squared minus 8x minus 9. And that's what we started with. So we are correct. X plus 1 times x minus 9. Okay, let's go number 3. Same thing. We're going to write our two factors out. And then we know it's x. And we just got to find what are the numbers that we're going to put in there. right? So we identify. So we got 1, positive 2, positive 1. So our number here is going to be 1 times 1. A times C gives us 1. Our middle number goes down here, B. And then we find factors of 1. Only 1 times 1 gives us that. 1 plus 1 equals 2, gives us that. All right, so our two numbers are going to be 1 and 1. All right, that's the only combination that works, 1 and 1. So that's what we put in our solution right there. So 1 and 1, put it in. So that's our two numbers. So we just have positive 1, positive 1. And that's our factors, x plus 1 times x plus 1. And then when we check ourselves, using the box method, it will always work. We did it correctly, right? X times x, x squared. X times 1, 1x. 1 times x, 1x, and then 1 times 1, 1. Our middle terms always combine. So x squared plus 1 plus 1 is 2, 2x's, and then positive 1. And that's our answer. Right? So that's what we started with. That's correct. So we're just adding one more step, right? To last time. Okay, x squared minus 16. Okay, these ones, right? We don't have a middle term. So this is x squared plus 0x minus 16, right? There's no x value in the middle. So we can write out that 0. Then we can identify what the a is, 1. What the b is, 0. What the c is negative 16. And again, top over x is a times c, so 1 times negative 16 is negative 16. Our middle number b goes in the bottom, 0. Factors of negative 16, so we can do 4 times negative 4. Does that add to 0? Yeah, it does. That one works already. So that one's negative 16. That gives us that. 4 plus negative 4 equals 0, and that gives us our other number. So our two factors are 4 and negative 4. Okay, and we just put that in our answer. That's it. All right, so we put it up here. We're going to write our factors out. Right, so two factors, x, x, automatic. Just write that in there. And we just put our numbers in. Positive 4, negative 4. So plus 4, negative 4. And that's our answer. Okay, then we do a box method. Right, and eventually you can get it where you can do it in your head. So x times x, x squared. X times negative 4, negative 4x. 4 times x, 4x. 4 times negative 4, negative 16. Middle terms always combine. That's going to be 0. So we have x squared and negative 16, minus 16. And that's our starting answer. So we are correct. Okay, so the whole process is adding on. We just identify what the a, b, and c are. The top of the x is a times c. Bottom of the x is your b, so b for bottom. Okay, and then we find factors that multiply to your top number that add to the bottom number. And we found out this is 4, negative 4, and we just write that in our answer. 4, negative 4, and that's it. And we check our answer using a box method or FOIL. Both will work.